Have you ever read Psalm 23 and thought it was only about comfort, peace, and God's protection? Most Christians do. They hear the beautiful words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And they think about rest, guidance, and faith during difficult times. But what if I told you there is also a powerful financial principle hidden in this psalm? A principle that many believers overlook. And the truth is, this principle has quietly guided generations of faithful people into peace, provision, and freedom from constant worry about money. Today, we're going to walk slowly through Psalm 23 together and uncover a biblical mindset about provision that could change the way you think about finances for the rest of your life. So if you're listening right now, maybe early in the morning with your coffee, or late at night before sleep, take a deep breath, relax, and listen closely. Because this message may be exactly what your heart needs today. Psalm 23 begins with a simple but powerful declaration. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Many people read this verse quickly and move on. But pause for a moment and think about what David is really saying. He is not saying, "I have everything I want." He is saying something deeper. He is declaring that when God is leading your life, your needs are covered. A shepherd's responsibility in biblical times was to provide food, protection, and direction for the sheep. The sheep didn't run around anxiously trying to store up grass for the next season. They trusted the shepherd. And that is the first money principle hidden in Psalm 23. Provision flows from relationship, not from panic. Many people today live in constant financial fear. They worry about the economy. They worry about retirement. They worry about whether they will have enough. But David teaches us something radically different. When God becomes your shepherd, anxiety about provision begins to fade. Because you understand that your life is guided by someone greater than the markets, the economy, or human systems. Then David continues, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." Notice something important here. The sheep are not starving. They are not wandering through deserts. They are in green pastures. In other words, God leads his people into places of nourishment and sustainability. This is another powerful financial lesson many people miss. God's provision is usually steady and peaceful, not chaotic and stressful. The world often promotes a different message. It tells us that financial success comes through constant striving, exhaustion, and pressure. But Psalm 23 paints a completely different picture. The shepherd leads his sheep to still waters, not raging storms. God's design for your life includes peace alongside provision. And for many people listening today, especially those who have worked hard for decades, this truth can bring tremendous comfort. You were never meant to live in permanent financial fear. Now listen carefully to the next line. "He restores my soul." This may seem unrelated to money at first, but it actually connects deeply to how we think about wealth and provision. A restless soul often tries to fill its emptiness with more possessions, more income, or more security. But David reminds us that true restoration does not come from money. It comes from God renewing the heart. And when the soul is restored, something beautiful happens. Contentment begins to grow. And contentment is one of the most powerful financial blessings a person can ever receive. Because a content heart is free from the endless cycle of never having enough. Now let's move to one of the most powerful images in Psalm 23. "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." Think about that for a moment. God doesn't promise a life without challenges. David faced enemies, battles, and uncertainty. Yet even in the middle of those difficulties, God prepared a table. In biblical language, a prepared table represents abundance and hospitality. It means provision is already arranged. Even when circumstances look uncertain, even when others doubt you, even when the future feels unclear, God is still able to prepare a table. And this leads to another hidden financial principle. Provision often appears in unexpected places when we remain faithful. Many believers have experienced this. A new opportunity, unexpected help, a door opening at the right moment. Not always in dramatic ways, but often through quiet guidance that only becomes clear in hindsight. And then David says something truly beautiful. My cup overflows. Notice he didn't say, my cup is barely full. He said it overflows. Overflow represents more than survival. It represents blessing that spills over into the lives of others. This is one of the most important biblical perspectives on money. God's provision is not only about meeting our needs, it is also about creating generosity. When a cup overflows, it cannot help but pour out. And many people over the age of 50 understand this deeply. At this stage of life, the greatest joy is often not found in accumulating more, but in blessing others, helping family, supporting ministries, encouraging younger generations. Overflow turns provision into purpose. Before we continue, let me pause here for just a moment. If this message is speaking to your heart, I would love to hear from you. In the comments, simply write, "The Lord is my shepherd." Those 5 words have comforted believers for thousands of years. And if you enjoy messages that explore the deeper wisdom hidden in Scripture, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss future reflections like this. Every week we share biblical insights designed to bring peace, faith, and encouragement into your daily life. Now let's continue. Psalm 23 ends with one of the most reassuring promises in all of Scripture. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Did you notice the direction of the blessing? David does not say he must chase goodness. He says goodness and mercy follow him. That is a completely different mindset. The world teaches us to constantly chase success, security, and wealth. But Psalm 23 suggests something profound. When your life is aligned with God's guidance, blessing begins to follow you. Not always in ways the world measures, but in the form of peace, stability, meaningful relationships, and faithful provision. And finally, David says, I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This reminds us that the ultimate treasure in life is not money. It is a lasting relationship with God. Everything else, health, provision, opportunities, flows from that foundation. So what is the hidden money principle that many Christians miss in Psalm 23? It is this. True provision begins with trusting God as your shepherd. Not panic, not constant striving, but trust. Trust that God guides. Trust that He provides. Trust that He leads you toward green pastures in the seasons when you need them most. And when that trust grows, something amazing happens. Financial anxiety begins to loosen its grip. Peace enters the heart. And life becomes less about chasing more and more about walking faithfully with the shepherd who already knows the path ahead. If this reflection encouraged you today, share in the comments, God is my provider. Your comment might encourage someone else who is listening quietly tonight. And if you enjoy peaceful Bible reflections like this, remember to subscribe and join our growing community of believers seeking faith, wisdom, and hope through Scripture. May the words of Psalm 23 continue to bring you comfort tonight. And may you always remember, the Lord is your shepherd, and with Him, you truly lack nothing.